your mind, but also your body. So here we are. Please allow me to read one more exactly the qualification. Yes, here. Okay. So we have 169 sessions, and each one like a door, each door a mirror or a fire. And as you walk through, you will understand deeply about the cause, condition, effect, law. You could write reflections and essays, not only to impress, but to express yourself. Learn calligraphy to let your inner stillness take form on the page. Like Mentor 5, we had a chance to roll down together. 1,000 people could do this very traditional activity together, very meaningful, and train artificial intelligence AI to serve as your assistants. You will document your own transformation journey through 200 real videos. So it's like a movie to see all your transformation. And you will be challenged not only in mind but also in body. You could swim 2 kilometers in the open sea, run 21 kilometers on sand, complete 10,000 full squats, rotate your hips continuously, maintaining core axis alignment for 5 hours. Perform long-range flutter kicks for 1 hour straight. Roll your back steadily, continuously for 6 hours. So all these activities not only build your strength, but also your inner well-being, your spirit to conquer and to achieve all the goals as you wish. So let's open our heart and our mind to join this journey to really transform from a caterpillar to a beautiful butterfly. And now it's time for me to have a chance to listen to your lessons, your application, or your enlightenment. If you have any from previous lessons, especially we have learned one lessons with Cô An Trang about human energetic structure. So all of you was in the class yesterday, right? Mạnh Khang and Miss Vân. How about Phan Xuân? Yesterday, did you join the class? Is it convenient for you to speak, to share with us? I would like to know from you. And Thầy Thọ, we'd love to hear from you. Yes, you did. Hello, Thầy ạ.
Hello, everyone. Hello, cô Anh Trang, cô Gemma. Hello, Mạnh Khang, Tường Văn, Phan Xuân. I don't know the rename here because just see the word Phan Xuân. So, maybe because we changed the link, that's why a lot of me do not know the change. Mạnh Khang, so how did you know this link? I cannot hear any words from you, Khang.
I couldn't hear you.
Gemma, can you hear?
No. Can you say again? Mạnh Khang?
My mom found the link in a group. So, yeah, my mom sent me
That's
those things, so I just went into the group and found the link.
So that's why your mom gave you the new link. Okay, so
Yes.
you know. Good. Many participants. I asked Coach Chill for new link. Okay. So we need to up retail more in our, program so that everyone knows this change. Right, thank you very much. I give the microphone back to Chamber, the MC today, and Go and Chang. Yes, thank you.
Really appreciate your presence, teacher. Yeah, it's I will send more groups and the notice to people includingly because most of the lesson Miss Lingley's group is many people. All right, so yeah, Miss Van Wisson, is convenient for you to share with us the lessons that you have learned yesterday about our human energetic structure. What impressed you? Please. Oh, Fan Xuân, are you in the Telegram group? Hello, Fan. Miss Sun.
Yeah, yes, I'm in the Telegram group, but I cannot send messenger and I cannot receive any messenger from Telegram. Yeah. So I asked in the group with ghi chép bài học for the new link. Yeah. And Big Triều can give me new link.
Yeah, it happens for many people who couldn't open Telegram anymore.
Yeah.
You understand that? Luckily, you are here with us today.
Yeah. Thank you, teacher.
Okay, so we are looking forward to hear from you. Any lessons?
Oh, my English is not good, so I cannot show my opinion. But yet I impressed in the emptiness.
In emptiness?
Yeah, because for a long time before, I always use my will see, say no, and here to to respond. Yes, but now I can use.
You mean human structure and emotion?
Yes, yes.
And come down.
Later. Let's please sing for us a song.
I'm so sorry. I thought my mic was muted.
No problem. No problem.
I was saying to my headphones. I was wondering. I was speaking in my headphones. Why wasn't it working?
Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm
We
sorry.
would love to hear your voice.
I didn't realize.
Yep.
It's only work when you sing.
Yeah. Thầy, would you like to say something earlier?
You are talking to me?
Yes.
No more.
Sorry. Yeah.
Thank you
Okay,
for
I
asking.
stop your speaking. Okay, thanks for sharing, Miss Fun. You are talking about how you react or you respond with the circumstances before, right? You use human natures and emotions to solve or to react, right?
Yes.
And now, what is the difference?
Now I always stop one from 1 to 10 minutes. And yes, to wait, and after that I respond. Yeah.
And how do you feel?
I feel everything okay. I don't become angry anymore.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations, really. It's like very important for all of us.
Yes, I think the thing is very important for me is the 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 different from respond to my husband. Yes, before I always angry with him. Anything him do for me, I angry a lot. But now I'm not more.
I see.
Yeah.
Wow, congratulations. It's like a very beautiful outcome of your life when you start to receive your inner truth or you know about inner emptiness
Yeah.
and
And
because
I feel to thank. I always thank for him to do anything for me.
just switch immediately after you learned.
Yes.
Wow. You
Uh,
have enough
not
blessings.
not
Yeah.
not this class, but the class thấu hiểu nội tâm K37.
Yeah.
Yes, from that day.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
And
I study this class because I want to improve my listening skill, my speaking skill. Yes.
yeah, and who knows, maybe in the future you will share this knowledge in English.
Yes. Now I'm learning Chinese, so I have a dream. One day I will say to Chinese this kiến thức, this nhận thức.
Knowledge, this
Yes,
knowledge, this
knowledge.
philosophy.
Yes.
I see. So you could speak Chinese and English and Vietnamese to share this knowledge. Congratulations. Yeah, thanks for your sharing. All of us would like to find our inner peace and could be peaceful, tolerance, appreciation, and gratitude. Those energy will help our life becomes better. Thanks for your sharing, Miss Sun. And please open your mic, Miss Fun. We would love to hear from you. Hello, Miss Fun.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Miss Gemma. Hello, Miss Antran and Mr. Jackson. Yesterday, I have studied with Miss Antran and with Miss Anne about the inner truth. I also learned from Vietnamese version, and I still have questions that I could not get the answer until now. That is the inner truth as its definition is the thing that does not change over space and time, and the inner truth is not the create from your thinking. So according to that definition, so the inner truth is only the will to see, the will to hear, the will to know, and the will to say.
Say, know,
Yes,
and see. Yeah.
yes, only that for so if like that, how can we recognize when we receive a message, and we use our layer to receive the message, and as the Miss Anne said, we should use our inner truth to take the message to gain the inner peace. So I think it is how can we practice that? Because always we use our emotion, our feelings to get the message. Even when we were just born, when we just come to this life, when we are children, we haven't know how to speak yet, but we use our feeling to react to the message. So if like that, how can we practice to receive the message by our inner truth?
Yeah, you have the best.
And it seems like the inner truth is not tồn tại. What is that word?
Exist.
It is not exist. Yeah, it's not exist. But only the path to the inner truth is exist. So we are on the way to find the path to reach the inner truth. But the inner truth is not exist. So that is my question.
Again. The last one. You said inner truth is exist.
Is not exist.
Not exist.
But the path to get the inner truth is exist.
Cô Anh Trang, could you help me here? Please.
Hi.
The first question, she wants to ask how to practice to receive the message by our inner truth, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So
and the second one, I'm not really clear about why she said it not exist, but the path is exist.
Mm-hmm. First, before we can get there, we need to acknowledge it first. We need to have the awareness it exists first before we can practice to get there. Yes?
Yeah, I got it. So please wait a minute. It will be answered in our lesson today.
Oh, I see.
Yes. Okay. Please take your time and keep your questions.
I will waiting for the lesson today.
Thanks a lot. So it's time for our main speaker today, Cô Anh Trang. So please allow me to introduce to you. So all of you were here yesterday, but please allow me to introduce again. Cô Anh Trang, she is a postmaster in WIT ecosystem. She graduated and settled down in USA. And currently she has many English course to share root education philosophy via different channels. And I'm so honored to introduce her today to share with us the second path of human energetic structure to understand about ourselves and understand about others as a human being. So please send your hearts, your flowers to welcome our main teacher today. Welcome, Quảng, Trang.
Thank you ever so much, cô Gemma. Thank you, chị Tường Vân, for asking such a great questions. Hi again, Mạnh Khang. This Phan Xuân, this Thọ. Okay. Actually, I haven't actually seen his face yet. Would love to see his face sometime because he has been a great help for our group so far. Và trân trọng kính chào thầy Jason. Okay. Yesterday we already start talking about the human energetic structure, and we first talking about the term which named the inner truth. Okay. Right. Yeah. Hello chị Linh Lê. Hello chào cô Linh.
Chào cô Anh Trang.
Where's all the Australians?
Where are all the Australians? I'm wondering myself, I'm like, what happened here? I come into the class and
I
see
think that
nobody.
now there's người một nhà officially shut off. Everyone kind of like does enough.
You know, they're still in cloud 9 or something. I gotta go and round them up. Thanks, cô Anh Trang.
Biết ơn chị, biết ơn cô nhiều. Right. So let me start by answering chị Tường Vân questions, and then we continue with yesterday lessons. Chào cô Thủy Tiên. Chị Tường Vân, if it's convenient for you, let's turn your camera on and communicate with me if possible, so I can make it clear for your questions. Hello, chào anh Ngọc Phước. Ngọc Phước.
Hello, Trang.
Yes. Okay. Right. So, chị Tường Vân, let me quickly recap what we learned yesterday. Yeah. And then on why I'm talking, if any part that you wasn't clear yet, you can stop me and ask. Okay. And then after that, I'll go back to your questions. Is that okay, chị Vân? Right. So yesterday we start off by introducing to everyone the term the inner truth, and we know the definition of the inner truth is what does not change over space and time. Yeah. So this is the first awareness that we need to have. Most of us, we have no awareness about the inner truth. If it does not exist, then the word inner truth wouldn't exist either. If it does not exist, then there are no such thing as a definition for the inner truth. So first we have to agree with each other, that it exists, right? The inner truth, it does exist because we talk about it. Yeah, we understand what does it mean. We have the definition of it. So, is that okay, chị Vân?
I understand your meaning.
Okay,
you mean
thank
that the inner truth is exists because it has a definition,
Yeah.
and as I understanding your meaning is it is a non-material.
Yeah, we can classify it as many things, and one of those things could be non-material aspects inside of us, for sure. So whichever you are relating to right now in your head, in your conception.
Running in my head is the inner truth is just the expectation of human. That human is expect to get the happiness, and in our imagination that happiness must gain the inner truth.
Yeah. But unfortunately, most of us chasing happiness on the outside, chasing
Yes.
happiness and thinking that everything that changing in this world that we're clinging on to help us to find that inner truth, right?
Yes.
So this session actually helping us to figure out where it is. So rather than constantly chasing the material stuff outside and clinging to all the changing ever stuff in our life, throughout this session we'll be able to figure out where is that inner truth within us in order to hold on to it. If we hold on to something that does not change over space and time, then our life becomes stable, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we understand it here because that was your second question. The second question was, exist? It doesn't exist. So now we all agree that it exists, and we are chasing after it, but somehow we don't know. We're unable to name it.
Yes.
Yeah, somehow we're unable to name it because for so long we are running in life and totally clinging on to get entangled, to get attached to things that change it all the time. Yeah, so when we were little, we get attached to, we cling to our parents, we cling to candies, to toys. And when we grow up a little bit, we get attached to jobs, career.
Yes.
And when we mature a little bit more, we get attached to our husband, our children, our wife. And those things,
Agree with you.
they are all changes. So we constantly get disappointed because we hope that someone, something, somewhere bring us happiness. We hope that our parents bring us happiness, but then they disappointed us. Okay? We hope that a career, a job be able to get us there, but then by the time we get there, we're wondering what is it? Where is it? Where is that thing that make me fulfilled and peaceful and calm, right?
Yes.
And also with our children, our husband, our friend, our college, everything around us. Yeah. So this session actually helping us point it out to us where it is, where's the thing that we have been looking for most of our life. And this is the yes.
Sorry, please continue. Yes, please.
So you get it so far?
I get it.
Yeah. So yesterday I was saying this is the most valuable knowledge in humanity, because do you agree with me that we have more than 7 billion people in the world right now, and all of us at the end of the day, what we're looking for is just to be peaceful, to be staying in inner peace, to be just happy with ourselves. Yeah. And that's what we also want for our children. That's what we also want for the people around us. At the end of the day, doesn't matter how rich you are, how wealthy you are, how beautiful, marvelous you are, how smart you are. At the end of the day, that's all you wanted, right? And more than 8 billion people in the world, that's what they wanted. Okay? Just to find a little peace inside of themselves at the end of the day. Yes? Okay.
Yes.
But then what do we do in the whole 24 hours of the day? Right? You understand what I'm saying?
I will waiting for all the I will join on the class, and I will try to find.
Okay. So now you accept that that's inner truth. It exists. And yesterday we're saying that thank you to our head teacher, to our master. He has pointed out to us that the inner truth is where the will to hear, the will to see, the will to say, the will to know. Yeah? And we also explain why the will to hear, the will to see, the will to say, the will to know are the things that does not change over space and time. Okay? So, did you understand when I explained yesterday why these are the things that does not change over space and time?
I understood.
Okay, great. Right, so now, how can you receive it? That's the next questions. Yeah? So now you know it exists, it is there, is it the will to hear, the will to see, the will to know, the will to say. We name it differently in different terminologies, right? In folk terminologies, they call it the heart. Yeah? In scientific terminology, they call it inner truth. And in Buddhist terminology, they call it Buddha nature, true nature. Yes? Got that?
Yes.
It's just named differently because we have different group of people, that's all. Some people believe in Buddhism, some people believe in science, some people, they believe according to their ancestors, which is the folk terminologies. Yeah, so they just have a different name. The part where we say the will to hear, the will to see, the will to say, the will to know, it just has different name. You got that?
I got it.
Okay. Right, so now the question is, you know it exists, you know it is the will to hear, the will to see, the will to say, the will to know, but how can you receive it? How can you have it? How can you have it in your life? Right? That's the first questions. Okay.
That is my question.
Yeah. So, in order to do that, let me get in the other slide. We're going back to just a minute. So yesterday we defined that inside of us, apart from the body, which is the part outside. So when we remove the outside layer, so at the outside layer of us, we have all of our 5 senses, right? So when a message conveyed to us, when you heard something, someone tell you something that make you upset, that create emotion in you, right? You think that that's it. It should be the first thing you respond to the word. The first thing that you interact to the words by your emotion. Yeah, but if we understand about our inner being, then we will know where is it exactly going to. Right. So our inner being, when we remove the body outside, we have the layer of emotion. We have the layer of human nature. We have the layer of the heart. Okay. I'm trying to help you to connect this image with the human energetic structure right now. Okay. So the human energetic structure, we have the body layer, right? The body layer. Yeah. So we remove that body layer out. And then inside the body layer, we have 84,000 illusory bubbles. And that's we call it emotion. We call it emotional layer. Yeah. This layer, we call it emotion. So in folk terminologies, we call it emotion. So the body and then emotion. Got it? And then human nature. So next we have the 16 human nature here, which in folk terminology they call it nature. Yeah? Right. And then the inside of it we have the heart, which is the will to hear, the will to see, the will to say, and the will to know. All clear?
Clear.
Right. Most of us, when we talk about our inner being, our inner self, our inner world, we think it's one thing. Most of the time, that's all we think Okay, our inner being, doesn't matter what you call it. Some people call it inner being, some people call it inner world, some people call it inner self. But when the majority of people in the world, when they think about it, they think it's only one thing. Yeah. And here we know that our inner being consists of the heart, the nature, and the emotion. Okay, so we separate them. We make it very clear that it's not just one piece. There are 3 different parts in our inner being. Okay, so because there are 3 different parts, each part plays different roles. Yes, and if we be able to master our inner being, then we be able to be proactive and responsible for the choices that we make in life. Okay, in order to control the external circumstances from our inner being. So when you said earlier, when you said the example of a child when it was born, it's crying, etc., and you think that it's just the emotion reaction, there's nothing else. And that's what majority of people thinking it that way. Because we're unable to separate, unable to know that there are 3 different parts within our inner being. Okay? Right, so now we see that there's a different part in our inner being. Okay? So the question is, when the message sent to you, when the child got pinched and they cried, when someone called you, Jivan, why are you so crazy asking that such questions? Right? Okay. So you might smile outside, but inside you get upset. Why did I asking you a quiet question, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And so that's message that I just told you. Okay. Majority of us will think that it just go into our emotion and then through our nature, and then the end is go into our heart. Yeah. Most of us, we think it that way. It has to go, if it's go into us, then it has to go through the body, emotion, nature, and then, because the heart is the deepest inside, it's get there last. Right? Okay. Let me give you another example and you see which, if it's go last or if it's go first. Okay. Right. First, looking at this. Let's give another example. Looking at this. What is it?
Moment.
Okay, so before you answer the questions, what is it? You had to pause for a moment, right? There was silence before you answer me. Okay?
Yes.
So that moment there is where the inner emptiness, is where the inner truth, is where the inner peace within yourself. But some people, it happens so quick. They couldn't even realize that it's happened. You got it now?
I got it.
Okay, I heard the word so.
Yes. Got it.
Some
got
of
it.
us, it happens so quick that that our nature and our emotion jump in so quick, we couldn't be able to realize that, okay, whatever happened to us, there is a moment of silence, there is a moment of blankness, nothing, inner emptiness that happened right there, right then. But some people, it might be just, on my diagram, I wrote it so long. So you think it's actually very long, but in reality, it's tiny, tiny millimeter.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I'm sorry to stop you, but go back to your example a little bit. When you show me, that is the earring case, isn't it? But at that time when you show me, I don't know what is that.
Okay. Yes,
So
that's right.
I have a pause. I have a pause that at that moment, it means I don't have enough information for the layer, for the outer layer to respond.
Yes.
That's why I use the will to see to recognize that. You mean that?
No. No. When you start thinking, when you start analyze and differentiate, okay? Now, the moment that I asked you, you didn't say anything. That's why empty. But then you start analyzing what is it, okay? And you said, oh, I don't have enough information to know what it is. And you start guessing what it is. Then that's that. At right there, you have moving on to the nature area where you analyze and differentiate.
It means at the moment when I use my thinking to analyze and differentiate the object, that time the will to see is
disappear.
gone.
Disappear is gone. That's it.
Disappear.
It's gone. The moment of inner peace is gone very fast. That's why most of us we don't even realize.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, and then you start thinking, oh, it's pink. Why is she using the pink color? It's so girly, blah, blah, blah. So you go out to the emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I got it now. Got it. Thank you so much for clarifying.
But then I know there are another question that you're asking, and I would like to make it clear for everyone else in here as well.
Yeah.
That so when you go about in life and message keeps sending to you, right? People, I mean, in the Zoom, I'm saying you're crazy. It's just one example, but every day in our life, there's so many things happen to us, and it's make us upset. It's make us unhappy. So many negative going on. How can we going back to this inner peace? How can we have the emptiness? Go back to the emptiness within ourselves. Yeah, that was one of your questions as well.
Yes.
Right. So yesterday I have given you the secret for you to be able to do that. But maybe it was the end of the session and everyone kind of tired. So here, yesterday I will introduce you to one word Zen. Okay, so whenever something negative happens to you in life, okay, and you want to go back to the moment of inner peace, you want to go back to the area of the inner emptiness within yourself, okay, then you slow down a bit, okay, slow down a bit, and instead of, because now you understand what is the emotion, you understand what is the human nature within yourself, you understand that part of you, you have the inner truth, the hurt part in yourself, you can now decide to receive the message or to start analyze and differentiate or to respond. And the ability that you using these three parts determined the ability that you master your inner being. Yeah? So some people very quick, they master their inner being very fast. They are the master of themselves. But some people, it takes a little bit of practice in order to master their inner being, to decide that they just receive things, or they just receive that message, or they have to start analyze and differentiate immediately, or they just want to respond. Most of us, we just want to respond. Like a little kid, most of the time, they just want to respond. Okay? They have that. Normally, if there's nothing happen, kids very calm, very happy. They live in inner peace. But when something happen, instantly, kids respond very fast. They scream, they cry, they laugh, everything. Right? Okay? But now we are an adult, we master our inner being, so we got to choose whether we want to receive with our heart, okay, analyze and differentiate with our nature, or respond with our emotion. Yes? So is in your hands. The master of yourself is in your hands. Okay, and how can we do that? So whenever negative things happen, we can decide to telling ourselves to stop. Stop. Yeah. To release or let go. Or we can tell ourselves to end. Just end it. And or, in other words, a little bit more formal, we use the word keys. But this word is a little more formal. We don't actually heard it quite often. But since we say it in one word, it's one word sense. So instead of sitting down and meditate to bring yourself back to calmness, yeah, you can use this word and it helps you throughout the day whenever negative thing happen to you in order to bring yourself back to inner emptiness, inner peace.
I have one more question.
Sure.
Can I ask?
Before you ask the questions, hang on. Before you ask the questions, okay, have I clear on how you can bring yourself back to inner peace yet?
Yes.
Okay, so now you know how to do it, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, let's ask your questions.
It means when a message comes, I have to use. It means now I know that I can master the inner being, so I have to use the Zen words, as you said, that stop, release, end, and cease to receive the message. Isn't I understand correct?
When we have to use the ability of receiving the message or analyze the message, differentiate the message, when we start thinking, we actually go into the human nature already. When we say that we receive, the receiving thing, it just happened. It just happened. By the time you start thinking,
so
it's
that
gone.
is where I stop. That is where I stop. Means everything we do must use the thinking. So how can we know that time we don't use our thinking to receive a message?
Yeah. So everything we do, we must use thinking. That science has been told you for a long time, right? Everything we do, we have to use our thinking. Yeah, and from your thinking, you either react. It's called to your action, right?
Yes.
So that's what science has been told you for so long time. But here, we know that deeper underneath our thinking, before we start thinking, okay, what is it happen? What is the foundation before we start thinking? Either we're thinking positive, negative, or either we think good, think bad. What is it underneath it that create our thinking? Where is it that our thinking rooted from?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Your awareness.
Awareness.
Yeah? Your awareness. Once you have the awareness of it, you're aware of it. When you're aware of things, that is the foundation. And from that awareness comes your thinking and then your action if you decide to act.
No.
So first we need to have awareness. Awareness that inside of us we have the inner truth. Awareness that inside of us we have the inner emptiness. Awareness that we can live in inner peace anytime if we just receive with our heart. So that's first come awareness first.
I see.
Okay, Gemma said, When you open your eyes, you could see something, and when you close your eyes, you still can see something else. The will to see is unchanged. What you see will change, similar with hearing. Yeah, so that's what we discussed yesterday. Thank you, Gemma. And we clarify everything, chị Vân. And those questions that you have, they're very good questions, because that's what most of us stuck into. We learn the knowledge doesn't mean that we receive the inner emptiness. We learn the knowledge and we think that, oh, we know it now, we should have it, we should have the emptiness, we could use it anytime in our life. But the reality is most of us don't, because it's only the piece of information that you receive. It's not your awareness yet. What I given you on diagram, on what I'm talking, the word I'm saying, it's only information, right?
Yes.
It's not your awareness yet.
Not my awareness.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then you're wondering, oh, I know it. I know what is the inner truth. I know where the emptiness is. I know how to get to inner peace. But why when things happen, I'm still so emotional. I'm still so greed and perception. My perceptions keep going on all the time.
I just have like an explosion in my mind that about the awareness. It means when I have the awareness that I am the person, I am the human that have the inner truth inside. So I will choose to respond the message as a people that have the inner truth inside. Is that correct?
When you choose to respond, that is when you're using your emotion. Okay, so the first step, let's have this awareness of the knowledge that you learn first. And then take it slowly. Right? Take it slowly. First, let's have awareness of this knowledge first. Don't be rushed into receiving the inner truth within yourself, because the inner truth cannot receive by talking.
I see. I understand what you mean. Okay. Thank you so much.
Right. Anyone else have questions that relate to yesterday's topic before we're moving on? Okay. Thanks again for your question, chị Tường Vân. And continue yesterday's session. We're going to look deeper inside of ourselves, look deeper into our human energetic structure. Okay, so we have already go into the detail of where is our inner truth, how can we receive the inner truth within ourselves, how can we live in inner peace. We understand that. Now we're going to moving on to the human nature area, human nature part, right? Okay. Can someone please help me to read out loud or the names of the 16 human nature we have on the screen, just to remind everyone, please? Okay. Anyone would like to read out loud the English name of the 16 human nature on the screen, on the diagram?
Okay, please allow me to read it.
Thank you, Coach Emma.
Yeah, so inside we have will to hear, see, say, and know, surrounded by balanced energy. And then we have next round, reception, perception, action, and consciousness, wealth, form, fame, eating, resting, greed, anger, delusion, arrogance, skepticism, evil, view,
Thank you.
guarded by
It's okay. I only, my questions was only to read 16 human natures.
yeah,
Thank you very much.
16 human nature. And then we have 84,000 illusion bubbles. And the outside is 4 great body elements, includes earth, water, air, fire. And the outside circle is yin and yang electromagnetic energy. Sorry, could you remind me?
Yeah, I never said anything about yin and yang. I was saying is a positive, negative electromagnetic energy.
Electromagnetic
Yeah,
energy.
because
Yes.
I know
And
that
we
you
have-
understand more in English, but when we bring the word yin and yang into this picture, we had to start explaining what is it involved with yin and yang thing and where is it from. So it will confuse people more. So let's just keep it
Yes.
simple as just positive and negative. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have 3 fields: evil deed, good deed, and merit. Total karma includes total karmic consciousness, total karmic condition, and total karmic outcome. And besides, we have individual karma.
Thank you,
Yes.
Kochema.
Thank you, teacher.
Right. Anyone else would like to help me to read the 16 human natures only? Name the 16 human nature only. Okay, read out loud the 16 human nature only. Not everything else, just the 16 human nature only, because that is what we're going to talk about. Okay. Phan Xuân, would you like to read the name of the 16 human nature, please?
Yes, 16 human nature is reception, perception, action, consciousness, wealth, form, farm, eating, resting, greed, anger, delusion, arrogance,
Skepticism.
skepticism, evil, view.
Thank you very so much for reading it out loud. Okay. If it is a Vietnamese session, our teacher would make all of us memorize it. And I remember that the first time ever I joined Inner Beings course, when our teacher asked, can anyone close their eyes and read out loud the 16 human natures? There was a little girl, 8 years old, and she actually did it. And I was so surprised because that's was my first ever session learning about the human energetic structure. And I couldn't even understand, and then because they're in the Sino-Vietnamese, I couldn't even understand what does it mean. Talk about remember them, memorize them. But there's the little girls, I think about 80 years old, she did it perfectly. So then I had to start sitting down and properly learning about it properly. Okay, so now we're going to clarify what is the 16 human natures. Okay, let's get another blank of paper, and together let's do this together. Okay. So we have the first word is reception. So let's write all of them down. First, reception, and then I'm going to explain what does it mean. Right, reception, perception, okay, action, consciousness. Reception, perception, action, consciousness. Reception, perception, action, consciousness. Reception, action, perception, action, consciousness. And then we have, that's the first layer. This, I should have written it right. I picked up the wrong color. It doesn't matter. It should be an orange. Gặp sắc tướng. Alright, so then we have wealth, form, fame, wealth, form, fame, eating, resting, okay, so wealth, form, fame, eating, resting, reception, perception, action, consciousness, wealth, form, fame, eating, resting. And lastly, we have the layer outside here is greed, anger, delusion, greed, anger, delusion, arrogance, skepticism, evil, and view. Right. Greed, anger, delusion, arrogance, skepticism, evil, view. So these are the 16 human natures, include reception, perception, action, consciousness, wealth, form, fame, eating, resting, greed, anger, delusion, arrogance, skepticism, evil, view. Let's go with the first one. So reception does mean when we receive something, is the input. Okay, if you want to write it down, I'm just saying it slowly so you can write it down. Right? Reception is when you receive and experiencing of physical and mental sensation. Right? So that is an input. We can write reception is input. Okay? When you receive something, so reception, receive something. You can relate it to, like, when you go into a hotel, there's a reception area. So that reception. So that's areas where everything get into before they get to the hotel. Okay? Everyone have to be there at the reception area first. So reception. Okay. Next we have perception. Okay. Perception is our recognition and interpretation of sensory and mental experience. So how we label and recognize our experience. Okay. And sometimes people use the word imagination. Okay. In some part, in some version, people will use the words imagination. Okay? But here we pick the word perception. But when we perceive about the past, we're saying that we are remembering. When we perceive the present, we are saying we are imagining. And when we perceive the future, we are anticipating. Okay? So, perception. When we perceive the past, we are remembering. When we perceive the present, we are imagining. And when we perceive the future, we are anticipating. That's how our perception is. Everyone get to here? Should I write it down? It takes longer. Okay. Perception is when we receive the information, we have the certain recognition and interpretation of our sensory and all the mental experience. So how then we start labeling and categorize our experience. So sometimes we call it, we use sometimes in different version, they say it is imagination. Okay? Sometimes in different version people use the word imagination. But here we pick the word perception, because when we perceive the past, we are remembering. When we perceive the present, we are imagining. And when we perceive the future, we are anticipating. Okay? We got to there? Give me some sign to know that you got it and understand it's there. Thank you, chị Linh Lê. Okay, so remembering the past, imagining the present, and anticipating the future. That's how our perception works. Thank you, chị Thủy Tiên, chị Tường Vân. Okay, and then the action. Action is sometimes we use the word mental formation. Mental formation. But the word action, everyone understands what does it mean already, right? So if we say reception is input, then action is output. Or input, output, depend on which accent. So reception is the input and action is output. Yeah. So we receive it in and we act out. And then come our consciousness. Consciousness is our knowing, our knowledge. Okay? Our knowledge, our awareness. That is our consciousness. Knowing, knowledge, awareness of things that we know. That is our consciousness. Then we have wealth. Wealth, we have two forms of wealth. The first form is money, and the second form is talent. Okay, the first form is money. Sometimes we call it the material possession. Okay? Wealth, there are two forms. With wealth, there are two forms. The first form is talent, money, and the second is talent. Our talent is our wealth. Our money is our wealth. Okay. So that is wealth. Which form is the physical beauty that you can see outside of yourself, physical beauty. Okay. And the second part of form, we have the first part is physical beauty, and the second part is sensual pleasure. Sensual pleasure. What does it mean? Like when you see something not in place, okay, you are not happy with it. Like when you see my writing like this, you are not happy because all this part should be on this side. It should be neat and on one side only. But I separate them into two sides, and you feel that it's not in place. So that is your sensual pleasures. And different people have a certain level of sensual pleasure. Some people are quite strict with it. Some people, this doesn't matter much. Okay. So with form, we have two types. Either physical beauty, how you look outside, right? When you go out, you make sure that you look good. When you go on Zoom, you make sure that you look fantastic before you turn the video on. If not, you never ever turn your camera on. So that's physical beauty. Then we have sensual pleasure, is when you go into a place and you see that things are all over the place, things are unorganized, then you feel very irritable. So that's the sensual pleasure. Okay. Oh, hello, chị Thanh. Thanh Robert. Okay. And with fame It's kind of understandable already. It can have another word. We can use a reputation, your status in life. That's your fame. Yeah, your reputation, your status in life. That's your fame. With eating, sometimes in a different version, you see they use the word consumption or food. But food is food, drinking, eating, consumption. But here we just pick the word eating to simplify everything. Right. Yes. And resting is at here we pick the word resting because later on there will be a different meaning behind it. But resting, sometimes we refer to it as sleep. We refer to it as comfort. Okay. So some people they resting. They prioritize the resting if they have to go for work, if they have to go abroad for work, go overseas for work, or go out of the family to work in a different area, and they have to stay in the hotel, for example. Then they're gonna pick the hotel where it has a good bed that satisfies their comfort when they sleep. And some people, they go to a strange place, they're unable to sleep at all, they are unable to rest at all. So those are people who are quite strict with their resting ability. And then we have greed. These words are kind of meaning, have certain meaning already, right? Greed, anger, delusions. Sometimes in delusion people use, I think in some Buddhist verse they use the word ignorance for delusion. Ignorance. Okay. With arrogance, sometimes we use the word pride or conceit. Skepticism, sometimes people use the word doubt. With evil, sometimes we use the word unwholesomeness. Okay. But these words, they already have certain meaning to us, yeah. And with view, sometimes we use the word bias or opinion. Just different words for you to understand the meaning of it. Okay. So now we understand the meaning of each of these words in our 16 human nature, yeah. Any of these words that still confuse you, let me know. Yes, Crystal Liu.
Hello, Miss Tran. I just have a question about form.
Form, yes.
Yeah, because I didn't really get it. Because I know you said there are two definitions for form, and one is physical beauty, and I understand that part. And for the second part is the sense of pleasure.
Sensual pleasures, yeah. Sensual
Yes.
pleasure. Okay, you want me to explain that, yeah?
It's sensual of pleasure.
Sensual pleasure.
Sensual.
So with wealth, we have money, or material possession, and talent. With form, we have physical beauty, and sensual pleasure. Let's say your house is very neat, very tidy. When you come to my house, everything all over places because I have 3 kids. And when you walk into my house, you see that things are not in place. The fan should be there, but it's not. It's just in the middle of the floor. The table is just upside down. The clothes should be in the closet, but it's actually all over the ground. And you feel uncomfortable with that. You feel that you have the need to put it in place. So that's sensual pleasure of things around you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Okay. Any other word need to be clarified? Okay, I check that everyone have already.
Maybe perception. Could you say again?
Perception, yeah.
Yes.
Perception. Some of the version people use imagination. Okay, sometimes people use the word imagination, but here we pick the word perception. It describe the Vietnamese terms in better. So perception is the recognition and interpretation of our mental experience. So how we label and categorize our experience in life, right? Sometimes people think it's their imagination, but it's actually what they perceive in their life. So when they perceive the past, we call it remembering. When they perceive the present, we call it imagining. And when they perceive the future, we call it anticipating. Yeah? And different, and all of us, yes. Yeah, em xin mời thầy.
Hello, cô anh Trang. It's so good and happy to hear your explanation about the 16 human nature. I wish you to write down in detail perception for us to get more understand. Is it convenient? Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Perception. I think one of the participants, Coach Emma had written it down. Okay. When perception is a noun. When we in Vietnamese, the word tưởng, this could be a noun, it could be a verb. But in English, perception is a noun and verb of perception is perceive, right? So when we perceive the past, I'm gonna skip the word D. Okay, when we perceive the past, we call it, okay, we are remembering. Okay, remember. When we perceive the present, in the present, at the moment, if we use our perception, we often use saying that we are imagining. Yeah, we're imagining something right now, and then it's gone, it's become the past. So, and then again, we're imagining something right now, then it's gone, it's become the past. So every moment like that, we call it, we are imagining. Okay, imagine. And then when we thinking of the future, when we perceive about the future, we anticipating. Okay. Future. Okay. We anticipating. Anticipate. And recently, our teacher has taught us the word. There's a saying related to anticipation. So he said that anticipation is reality. Liệu định là thành. Yeah, you heard that before. Anticipation is reality. Liệu định là thành. You heard that. So whatever you perceive to the future, someday it's going to come true. Someday it's going to become your reality. And what you imagined at the moment what you imagined at the moment. Sometimes it can be your anticipation, but most of the time it just disappear in vain, because that's what you're imagining. And we don't it just and because a lot of people, when they imagine, that is what they perceive about either the world, what they perceive about human life, what they perceive about the cosmos. So there's three different parts that we acknowledge that get involved. Some of you you may be very interested in the world around you, and some of you are very interested in the human life or the knowledge of the human life, like most of us sitting here. And then there's a number of people, they very into the cosmologies or the cosmic perspective. So what you're imagining will doubt happen. You're imagining in your heads. It's all because of your perception. And everyone's perception is different, because Thầy Long already taught us about the root cause formula of life, because what we hear, what we see, what we say, what we know in our life is totally different. Hello, yes, chị Phan Xuân, please speak up.
Yes, I have an idea. The ladder of perception in Chinese, we have two. The heart and the brain. So I think perception is what you think in your brain and what you see in your heart.
What you think in your brain and what you see in your heart. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, so remember yesterday when I'm talking about different language, bring us to a different understanding of life. So if you, that's why a lot of people now want their children to know more languages. So now you're saying that in Chinese, the word perception means that what you have in your heart and what your head and what you have in your heart, right? There's a combination in the word perception. That's quite interesting. Thanks for sharing that. Okay. Any other questions before we... Okay, Gemma asks, how is a person living with the present? How is the person living with the present? Okay, let's go back to yesterday's session again. How can we live with the present? When you have the ability to master your inner being, okay, when you have ability to master your inner being, when you receive the inner truth within yourself, when you recognize where's the emptiness, okay, we can only live in the present. When we aware, first is the awareness comes first. When as that, okay, there are such things called the inner truth. Yeah? And when you live in the inner truth, when things come to you, you have the will to hear, the will to see, the will to say, the will to know. Okay? You have it. You have it. You know that you have it. That's it. You're receiving the message sending to you. Okay? And you stay in the inner emptiness. Then, okay, you eventually get to inner peace. So you feel the inner peace in yourself. Most of the time it doesn't happen for long. And that's why we has been told, we has been prompted to be able to use, to receive with inner peace. So receive with inner peace. Okay. Analyze and differentiate with tolerance. Oh. And then respond with appreciation and gratitude. Yeah. So when you master your inner being, you'll be able to use that. Okay. But when you receive with your inner peace, that's the moment where you'll be able to live in the present. And most of us, we don't live in the present for long. That's why so many people who go into the temple, who become a monk, who sit down and meditate in order to find that moment of inner peace, in order to find the periods where they stay in the inner emptiness. And because most of us, we don't stay in the inner peace for so long, because most of the time it happens for a nanosecond. Then our teachers had recommended us, encouraged us to alternate between inner peace, tolerance, and appreciation. So when we go about in life and we alternate between inner peace, tolerance, appreciation, then we come back to inner peace. If we're not staying in the inner peace, then we be tolerant. If we not be tolerant, then we staying in the appreciation and gratitude. If we unable to stay in the appreciation and gratitude, we move back to inner peace. If we be able to stay in the inner peace, then we going to be tolerant. If we unable to be tolerant, then we going to the stage where we appreciate and show our appreciation and gratitude. So by doing that, by alternate three of them, we have the chance to go back to the inner peace. Okay, so if we not staying in the inner peace, then we tolerate tolerance, sorry. That's why it's tolerance. Okay, if we are unable to stay in the tolerance, then we show our appreciation and gratitude. So we alternate the three meditation, and by alternating them, we'll be able to come back to inner peace over and over and over again. And that's how we can live in the present. Is that okay, Coach Emma? Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, teacher, because it a little bit confused when I heard about imagine. We learn about perception, and it's imagining in the present. But actually, people who could live in the present could live with their inner truth, right?
Not necessarily.
So I wonder, when we use imagining, it's not living with the presence anymore. We use the perception already, right?
Yes. That's why I'm saying most of the time people don't understand that they have that inner peace inside of them. They have the inner truth inside of them. Okay, so that's why people use the imagination. And even when we say present, it's not really the moment it's happened. So people have, and at the moment we only explain the term. So don't think too much. Don't overthink it. Okay, don't overthink it. We are on the stage where we explaining the term in our human energetic structure only. Because if you start overthinking and relating this explanation to many other knowledge, then we're gonna go very far. Yeah. So just staying in here where we're explaining the term. So we will explain the term, and then we're gonna go into the fluctuation of our human natures. Yeah. When we overthink it, we're already out of the present, out of the moment itself. Okay. So I say that when we perceive about the present, when we perceive the present, I didn't say that when we live in the present. Those are two different things. When we live in the moment, it's different from when we perceive the present. When we perceive the present, we already use our perception. We're out of the moment already. Okay? Right. So within these 16 human natures, anyone else have any other questions? Okay, within these 16 human nature, if we look at the diagram, we're gonna see that greed, anger, delusion, arrogance, skepticism, evil, view are the closest to the positive and negative electromagnetic energy. Yeah? So in here we have the balance energy. Our reception, perception, action, consciousness are the closest to our balance energy. It tends to be more stable compared to the part outside. Yeah? Everyone. So because this is the positive and negative electromagnetic energy. So when you go up to positive, you go down to negative, you go up and down like this. How can you be stable, right? Because it's constantly moving. But when you are close to the balance energy, you'll be more stable. Yeah? Just say, let's say for example, you are with a friend who are very calm and very, very pleasant, very calm in life. Then you feel the certain safety with that person. We feel more calm when you be closer to the people who live in the inner peace all the time. Yeah. Whereas if you have another friend where we use the word hyper, it's always all over places. Happy the minute she happy, the next minute she get angry, the next minute she gets sorrow, and the next minute she go into depression. Then would you also feel a lot of movement there? And would you be affected by her up and down emotion? Yeah? So it's similar to this. These greed, anger, delusion, arrogance, skepticism, evil, view, nature. These are the nature that stay closest to the positive and negative electromagnetic energy. So we have two layers of positive and negative. Let me write it down. So this is called positive, negative, electromagnetic energy. Okay, so we know that positive when it go up, negative when it go down. It could be the opposite. Positive go down, negative go up, depend on which direction you put it into. So these are the outer layer, the outer positive and negative electromagnetic energy. This is the inner layer, the inner positive and negative electromagnetic energy. We get that? So this human nature, this 7 human nature, is either closest to the inner layer, the inner positive, negative electromagnetic energy. Okay, and hence it have a certain fluctuation fluctuation is when it's go up and down. We call it fluctuation, right? So, and whereas inside here is closer to the balance energy, it doesn't fluctuate much. And also with wealth, form, fame, eating and resting, it's in the middle, it's in the between. So it also doesn't fluctuate much. It might be fluctuate a little bit, but not much compared to greed, anger, delusion, arrogance, skepticism, evil, and will. So now I'm going to show you the fluctuation of this human nature. The fluctuation of this human nature, okay? So we have the negative down here. We have the positive up here. So when our human nature go up and down, we call it fluctuation. So you understand the word fluctuation, yeah? So when our human nature go up and down, we call it fluctuate. Oscillation. So we call this light here is the oscillation of the fluctuation. But not get too entangled with the word, because otherwise. So the amplitude of the human nature oscillation. Okay. So we're going to looking at these human natures. So the 7 human nature, the greed nature, greed nature, anger nature, I'm going to name them out first, and then we go into the detail of how does it go on this amplitude of human nature oscillation. Okay. Delusion, nature, arrogance nature, skepticism nature, evil nature, and we have, lastly, we have will nature. Okay, so we had the amplitude of fluctuation of human nature. This is called the amplitude of fluctuation of human nature. And with greed natures, we have greed natures, the anger nature, delusion nature. These are the human natures that fluctuate the most, as I explained, because it is the closest to our positive, negative electromagnetic energy. Yeah. So let's look at the nature of greed, or the greed nature, the nature of greed. The essence of greed is that if someone only greeds something, especially greed for wealth, which includes money or talent, beauty, fame, eating or resting, and this greed is solely for themselves, then the trait of greed will turn negative. It's become, okay, and so it will turn negative if they only greed for themselves. Okay, and we call it greed, or some of the time people will use the word selfishness. Selfishness. So when we only greed for ourselves, we say that we are being selfish. Yeah. Selfish. Generosity. It's the human nature, greed nature. We also call it greed. And when we not just thinking of ourselves, when we greed but involve other people, then if someone greed about fame, about wealth for other people, okay, they want to other people to gain reputation, they want other to have good food, want other to have safe place to live. Okay, they are greed for themselves, and they think only for others without considering themselves. Yeah, then this greed become generosity. Generosity. Okay, so that with greed. Imagine that there's a moment when people only think about the benefit for others, but all benefits do not go beyond 5 words. Okay, all benefits only surrounding by 5 words: wealth, fame, eating, resting. So all about greed is about wealth, or form, or fame, or eating and resting. And if anyone could be able to create a products or services that satisfy people greed, form, wealth, form, fame, eating and resting, okay, so that serving people greed of wealth, greed of form, greed of fame, greed of eating and greed of resting, then they could possibly make a lot of money. For instance, someone wants to build a house for others, then they has agreed to provide a shelter for other people, right? And that's a good greed to have. So whether the greed is for oneself or for other, is still the nature of greed, the greed nature. So we tend to look down on greedy people, but highly regard generous people, right? So with greedy people, we tend to look down on them, but with generous people, we tend to look up to them. But however, the nature of human trait continuously fluctuates between positive and negative. Okay? Although we name it positive, generosity, and negative greed, but in between here, there are many levels of greed going on throughout our life. Many different level of greed. Okay, but in here we just show the fluctuation in terms of calling the name of certain of the positive and negative aspects. But remember that there's a many layers of greed going on. It fluctuates in between. Yeah, it's not just generosity, it's not just greed. There's been many others term that we unable to call it out by name. And that's why when yesterday I did mention that with language there's certain barrier to explain certain thing. Okay, so there's a time when we are very, very greedy, but there's a time when we are very generous. So there's a time when we think both for ourselves and for other people. For example, when someone are willing to share their food, but when it gets to their living space, it have to be for ourselves. They unwilling to share it. And some people, they hide their talents, okay, and they do not share the talent with other people. But with some others, they generously share their talents. So that's generosity, and that's greed of hiding their talent. Okay, and the talent, they just keep it for themselves. And there's a stages in life when we are greedy about something, but generous about another. And in later stages in life, we might be generous about one thing, but greedy about another. Okay, the name. I don't write that because in the Vietnamese diagram, our teacher didn't write down either. But for the sake of writing wording, then we have amplitude. Okay, amplitude of fluctuation. Okay, amplitude of fluctuation of human nature. So these are the human nature. Okay, of human nature. Amplitude of fluctuation of human nature. Is that okay? Right, so we are clear now with greed, the greed of the nature of greed. Yeah, sometimes just within one person, within ourselves. If in the morning we wake up, we feel happy, we be so generous. The kids asking for candy, the kid asking to watch TV, the kid asking to play iPad, we please them. By the afternoon, evening, we feel so tired, we don't feel like generous anymore. Okay, the kid asking for something, we say no, and they said that mommy's be selfish or greed. She doesn't let us do anything. Whoever have kids in here would understand that. So greed and generosity could be just in one person. Good and bad could be just in one person. So the human fluctuate between positive and negative state in our greed nature. So if someone initiate greed in a way that benefit others first and then themselves, we define it as initiation greed in a positive direction. In a positive direction. So we have positive direction. Positive direction. Positive. Positive direction, right? But and its meaning that is a positive intention. It is a positive intention. Okay, positive intention. Ý niệm dương. And this positive intention giving us the positive inner state. Trạng thái nội tâm theo chiều hướng dương. Okay, that's so when, let me repeat again. Yeah, if someone initiates a greed in a way that benefits others first and then themselves, we define that as initiating greed in a positive direction, meaning it is a positive intention. And with that positive intention, we will experience the positive inner state. Yeah. So, if someone initiates greed to benefit themselves first and then others afterward, then it is not entirely negative, but it's lean towards a negative direction. So it's from positive leaning toward negative direction. And yet also toward a positive direction. So if the intention is, so that's it, negative. This could be positive, this could be negative. Okay. No. And if the intention is solely for self-benefit, benefits for yourself, it is a negative intention. So if it benefits yourself first and then also benefits others due to favorable condition, then it is a negative intention leaning towards positive. So negative leaning toward positive. Okay. And we have positive and we have balance leaning toward positive. Right. So let us get familiar with this concept: the negative intention, positive intention, balanced intention. Okay? A positive inner state, balanced inner state, negative inner state. So when we want to do something, if we can always maintain an intention that benefits others first and then ourselves, okay, then this intention is we keep our inner state between balance to positive. So this intention will help us when interacting with people, when we're doing business, when we're engaging in society, when we're making things, make everything go smoothly. Okay? So if we want to achieve certain desirable outcome in life, we should maintain an intention that benefits other people first and then benefit ourselves. Okay? That is the creed of the creed nature. So let's talk a little bit more about balanced intention. Balanced intention. So everyone here might feel that sorry, just a bit, the kids waking up in the other room. It is 5 o'clock in the morning here. Okay. We as a person learning about inner being, and one day you become mentor, you become master, be able to share this knowledge. Yeah, that's what you're looking for, right? What you want to become here. You want to learn this knowledge not only just for yourself, but later on you'll be able to share this knowledge to other people around you, and to benefit other people. Okay? So in order to keep ourselves staying in balance, in order to have the balanced intention, we need to always remember that rain is always there. Tree with roots will absorb it. Okay, that's a saying as a person who going to share this knowledge to everyone. Okay. If you have an opportunity to share this knowledge to anyone, then remember that rain is always there. Tree with roots will absorb it. So even without you, other people, they will be helped somehow. So the notion of helping others, it's just a way of speaking. People will change on their own without your help or not, without your intervention. Each person attained the enlightenment, realization, and change on their own. Okay? So why I'm speaking here, regardless you receive this knowledge or not, and regardless if you be able to change, be able to transform, be able to live better in your life, is because of yourself. Okay? Because of yourself, because you are the person who decide to change, because you are the person who decide that you're gonna do something better with your life. Yeah. So without your decision on that, without your choices on improving yourself, transforming yourself, doesn't matter how much I'm talking here, it doesn't make any meaning. Yeah. So when I keep that in that notion, right, that means I remain balanced. I have the balanced intention toward this knowledge and toward what I'm transferring to you. And that means that when we stay in balance, okay, people will be able to receive it better. So, like when our teacher, when he opened these classes, okay, each person, they have their own, we say total karma. We learn about that term later on. Okay, and there is a principle in inner being that holistic expert, inner beings, consultant experts have to remember that rain is always there. A tree with roots will absorb it. It means that even if we act to support someone, their transformation, their changes is due to their total karma. It's not us. There will be others who help them to transform 1,000 times more. but because of the cause and condition we participate in. Okay, so the balance, so the absolute obviously between negative and positive. If we say there is an absolute balance, let's say this is a balance, the absolute balance doesn't exist, but the idea of the balance does. Yeah, the idea of staying balanced does. So when we initiate a balance in positive intention, or simply a positive intention, things tend to go more smoothly in life. So why more smoothly? Because this is explained by the principle of the brain activation. So you learned about that in previous session with Colin. So when we have intention for someone to realize their inner truth, yeah, also that intention is very balanced. So the intention for other people to receive the inner truth, that intention is very balanced because it brings the person into the state of balance when they receive the inner truth. So when we achieve this, our inner being become very peaceful, happy, and calm. Yeah. So this is the intention we should carry. Just a little pointer there. Right, let's moving on to the anger nature. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to finish the session. The anger natures with the amplitude of fluctuation for the anger natures from negative to positive. Okay, then we go from anger to satisfaction. Anger to satisfaction. In reality, now let me give an example that will make it clearer for you. Okay. Let's say one day you go to work and it's exactly 12 o'clock every day. You normally go home to eat with your loved one. Okay, then one day you come home, okay, with a strong greed for food, Yeah, you're going home at 12 o'clock. You're expecting that food should be on the table already, as every day, same every day. You're expecting a meal be ready for you. Okay, and on the way home, you're wondering what delicious food your loved one will prepare for you. But then upon driving home, there's no food cooked, nothing to eat. The house is empty. Okay, that will cause you the personality of anger to shift. Okay? Your human nature as the anger nature then will shift to negative. Okay, shift to negative. Yeah, is that will shift negatively your anger. Okay, so but then let's say another day, okay, your loved one call you in advance, text you and said that she or he gonna go out, right? So wouldn't be able to prepare lunch for you. Okay, then there's no expectation, there's no greed in eating at that moment. You know that you have to take care of your food. Okay, then that's the. But then when you get home, okay, you see the whole table of food already laying out there for you, and it's also the dishes that you love. And you see that the house plenty of food is over your expectation, exceeding your expectation about food, about eating. And at that moment, okay, the anger nature that shifts to satisfaction. You get satisfied there and then. So therefore the human greed and perception push your inner state. Okay, either in either the negative or positive direction, depend entirely on the nature of your greed and perception. Okay, depend entirely on the nature of your greed and perception. That will decide it whether you be in negative inner state or in positive inner state. Are we clear here? Anyone have any questions? So if we're clear, I'm going to go very fast for the next part. Since we already have the pattern understanding which part is negative, how it is positive, we understand the intention, we understand about our inner state already. Yeah. So let's talk about the nature of delusion or delusion natures. The amplitude of fluctuation for delusion nature go from negative as confusion to positive as clarity. Okay, so it's go from delusion. Okay, actually just keep it at delusion to clarity. Delusion and clarity. The arrogant natures, the amplitudes of fluctuation of arrogant natures go from, okay, I forgot the word, pick orange, is go from inferiority to superiority. Okay. In balance, we tend to use the words confidence. We tend to use the words confident when it's in balance. Okay. So between if we look at the fluctuation, it will go from negative at inferiority, and then it's go up to confident, and it's go up higher to superiority, and then if it's go higher to the highest, get to arrogance. I'm using the wrong color then, sorry, picking the wrong color. Okay, so when it's going up higher, it's go to arrogant. But remember, because positive and negative is the fluctuation, so when it's over positive, it's going back to negative. When someone is too arrogant, that is when they lost their positive energy and go down to negative. So too much of something is not good. The best thing is staying in balance. With the skepticism natures, we will move from a negative as suspicion, and towards positive, that is trust. With evil nature, we are moving from evil to kindness. And lastly, with view nature, we will move from stubbornness to acceptance. And this is the balance. Okay. Let's talk about the nature, the view nature, the last one. The amplitude of fluctuation for the view nature ranges from negative as stubbornness to positive as acceptance. So people base their greed and perception on wealth, form, fame, eating, resting. We know that's 5 human nature, yeah? Okay. And which drives all business in humanity. Whoever catering for human greed, both coarse and subtle, will be able to benefit from it. For example, with view nature, if someone having coarse greed for fame, some people will have strong greed for fame, and they want many people to know them in order to show off their wealth, their status, their fame. But with the other people who have subtle greed for fame, some people have a very subtle greed for fame. They will want the future generation to know them without showing off their current status, hiding their current fame. Okay, so if someone be able to create products or services and fulfill human greeds for wealth, form, fame, eating and resting, okay, for our fight, okay, then they will be able to receive a lot of money. Let's say, for example, if you sell a pair of shoes, okay, and you market it by appealing to people who have greed for fame, saying that, oh, this pair of shoes is a limited edition and has worn by the famous celebrities, is still in a perfect condition, then you're appealing it to those who have greed to fame. Yeah. How about using that pair of shoes and appeal to those who have greed for wealth? Okay, you were telling them that, oh, by wearing this pair of shoes will make you look more talented, more attractive, more beautiful, okay, and the people will see that you are very stylish. Okay, this pair of shoes suit your taste perfectly. So when you market the product to satisfy other people's greed, okay, greed of wealth, greed of fame, greed of eating, greed of resting, greed of fame, then basically that product or services will satisfy other people's greed and that align with their imagination about what they want. So they will automatically want to buy that pair of shoes that you provide. And all the religions and belief in the world, they got established to manage human greed and perception, to satisfy human greed for something, because without a place to anchor people greed and perception, without a place to hold people greed and perception, then everyone will become very chaotic with their greed. Okay, so human always has some greed, but it depends on the direction, right? Either it's go positive or negative. Okay, so there's always certain type of greed, but this will go to different direction, depend. Okay, and we know there's another things before we finish the session today. Okay, before we finish the session today, so within 16 human nature, greed and perception are the central of human nature. Greed and perception are central to human nature. Okay, greed and perception are central to human nature. If it's possible, you can write that down because it's quite important here. Greed and perception are central to human nature. Okay, it's manifest through wealth, it's manifest through form, Yeah. It's manifest through greed and perception. Manifest through greed and perception about wealth. Manifest through greed and perception about form. Okay. Manifest through greed and perception about fame. Greed and perception about eating. Greed and perception about resting. Or in other words, it's manifest through greed and perception about wealth, form, fame, eating, resting. Determine the level and extent of anger, delusion, arrogance, skepticism, evil, and view. Okay, and it will determine what you want to receive, how you act, and how your consciousness manifests. Actually, let me write it down.
Can you repeat? Greed and perception.
Yes.
Is a central of human nature.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, she's going to
Write
note down for us to copy.
Okay, thank you.
I couldn't be lazy, could I? Greed and perception are central to human nature. Okay, that's first. Right. Manifest through greed and perception about wealth, greed and perception about form, greed and perception about fame, greed and perception about eating, greed and perception about resting, okay, get there. In other words, greed and perception about wealth, form, fame, eating, resting, okay. Wealth, form, fame, eating, okay. Resting. Determine the level and extent determines the level and extent of anger, delusion, arrogance, skepticism, evil, and view. Okay, and view, determined what you receive, what to receive, not you, what to receive. So we receive with our reception, right? Our reception. Okay. How to act. So we act with our action. Okay. And how our consciousness manifests. Okay. And how our consciousness manifests. It's totally fit into a page. Okay. Greed and perception are central to human nature. Manifest through greed, a perception about wealth, greed and perception about wealth, greed and perception about form, greed and perception about fame, greed and perception about eating, greed and perception about resting. In other words, greed and perception about wealth, form, fame, eating, resting determine the level and extent of anger, delusion, arrogance, skepticism, evil, and view, determine what to receive, how to act, and how consciousness manifests. Okay. How consciousness manifests. Okay, would someone like to read it out loud? Sorry, this should be in the singular. Yes, Tường Vân. Please go ahead. Chị Tường Vân.
Greed and perception are central to human nature. Manifest through greed and perception about wealth, greed and perception about form, greed and perception about fame, greed and perception about eating, greed and perception about resting. In other words, greed and perception about wealth, form, fame, eating, resting determine the level and extent of anger, delusion, arrogance, skepticism, evil, and view. Determine what to receive, how to act, and how consciousness manifests.
Thank you very much. Great reading. Okay, anyone else would like to read? Why others are writing? Maybe practice your reading at the same time. Okay. If no one wants to read, anyone have any questions on this? Regarding this page, anyone have any questions? Yes, chị Tường Vân.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to ask again. So after studying, I have a question that is the joining of this course. Is a kind of greed and perception.
What do you think?
I think it's a greed and perception.
Yes, our greed and perception about knowledge that lead us to here. Our greed and perception about knowledge, for this knowledge in English that lead us to this class. Without
So
the
how
greed
can
and
I'm sorry.
without
Please
the greed
continue.
and perception, you wouldn't be able to receive anything. Okay, let me give you an example. You have an interest in, let's say, you have an interest in learning the human life knowledge. Yeah, you have an interest to learn about humanity. Yeah, so whenever you hear someone say something about human life knowledge, you taking it in very fast. But with your kids who have no interest in learning about human life experience, your kids only interested in learning about playing chess, playing piano, right? Then this knowledge have no interest to them. When they hear this knowledge, they wouldn't receive it. Yeah, it doesn't. It have no interest to them at all. But if they see someone playing the piano, they see the new piano that got discount, okay, they immediately, doesn't matter where it is, how far it is, they would immediately notice about it. Yeah, okay. And if they interested in playing chess, okay, whenever they go to somewhere they see people playing chess, they would give notice to it immediately. Whereas you might just consider to see that if anything related to the knowledge of human life here. Whereas in your kid mind, you're constantly thinking about how can they get to play with their friend. They play chess with their friend. Yeah. So whatever your greed and perception, or in another word, your interest in something, then you get drawn into it. You get attracted to it. Okay, and you receive the knowledge better. You receive the information better. Let's give you another example. Have you ever buy a new purse? A new car? Have you ever bought a new car?
No, I have not.
Okay, have you ever bought a new kind of dress?
Okay.
Okay, and then after you bought that dress, you see that, oh, so many other women also own that dress too. You start seeing that dress appear around you. But before that, you think that it's only yourself buying it. But then after buying it, you see that, oh, many other people have a similar type of dress that you have too. So we get attracted to things that we interest. We get, or in another word, tomorrow we explain more about it. Why? Because we actually have the same energy vibration. We align with the energy vibration. So when you get interested in something, you receive that it better. Yeah.
I see.
You open your mind to that kind of knowledge. Whereas if I talk about politics, for example, you not have no interest in it, you're gonna close your mind immediately. Yeah, you can have no interest in listening to news about politics. So even your husband, your parent turned on the news in the background, okay, right now, yeah, you would only listen to what I'm saying because these are the knowledge that you interested, that your greed and perception lead you to, not the politic news going behind you in the background. You know what I mean?
Quite not clearly.
Okay. Let's say, what are you interested in life right now?
What interest in life is how to find the really happiness,
Okay. So
the true happiness.
how to find the inner truth,
The-
how to find the real, the true happiness, okay, the inner peace. Then if anyone's saying, oh, I have a technique for you to be able to stay in inner peace, then you would immediately ask that person what it is, right? But the same things if that person telling your kids, right? You have kids?
Yes.
You have children, right? If that person telling your kids, oh, children, come here, I show you the technique to stay to be peaceful, to stay in inner peace. What do you think they're gonna act?
Will ignore.
Yeah, they're gonna ignore because it's not within their grid and perception.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
yeah, the action is not correlate to that. But your action, if you hear that person said that they're gonna show you that technique for free, then you gonna clear out your calendar. Doesn't matter how busy you are, you will make yourself available to receive that technique, right?
So it means our greed and perception control us.
What do you think? Do you think that your greed and perception control yourself, or you control your greed and perception?
I think greed and perception control myself.
Okay, so you are a human being, right? When we are not, okay, let's get back to the slide earlier. When we unaware, then yes, I can't find that slide. Let me just write it down again. Remember when we talk about awareness? Most of us go about in life without our awareness. So we let our greed and perception lead us, control us. But once you're able to, you have awareness. Okay, you have awareness of inner beings. You have awareness of inner truth. You have awareness of inner peace right now. Okay. Would you let your greed and perception control you and lead you anymore? Or you would stop for a moment and then rethink about it?
Yes. Stop a moment and rethink.
Yes. So whether we say that our greed and perception control us, or we control our greed and perception, okay, in order to answer that questions, we have to go back to the root of the knowledge. And within our journey of the 26 days here, we, all the teachers here, provide you the foundation of knowledge, provide you the foundation in order to elevate your awareness in life. And when your awareness has been elevated, so our awareness is awareness. Is it the foundation? Is it the root of life? And before you enter this class, you might not have knowledge. You lack knowledge of inner peace, inner truth. Yeah, but now you have the knowledge of it. You have the knowledge about inner truth. What is inner truth? Inner peace is. Okay, and if you continue to learn this knowledge, continue to practice your daily life, to applying this knowledge in your life, one day you get to a fulfilled awareness, fulfilled your awareness. Okay, and this is what we want to go to. Okay, this is the journey. So these classes okay, are helping you to go on the journey that elevate your awareness from lack awareness, have no awareness at all about your human life, okay, your human experience, and elevate it until you have awareness of human life. And then one more time, elevate your awareness so you can fulfill your awareness of human life. And once you fulfill awareness of your human life, you'll be able to master your inner being, master your greed and perception.
I
Okay.
understand. Yes. Thank you so much, teacher.
Thank you
so
for
much.
the questions. Anyone else have questions? The more you ask, the more you be clarified. Okay. People said that minor enlightenment lead to minor transformation, but greater questions. Sorry, minor questions. There's no something in mind. Minor questions lead to minor enlightenment, but greater questions lead to greater questions lead to greater enlightenment. Tiểu nghi tiểu ngộ, đại nghi đại ngộ. So keep asking if you have any questions. Okay. So what have you learned so far today? What got you impressed in today's lessons? You can share it in Vietnamese or in English. Either Vietnamese or English is fine. What impressed you the most in today's session? What has struck you? Or what is the new things that you have learned today? Okay. Every day if we go into the session, the class, with the mentality to share the lesson that we learn, the impression that we had, impressions, and then shared our realization, or in other words, we use the word enlightenment, enlightened. Share your enlightenment. Okay. Then your brain will be activated and you will learn 10 times more than others. Yes,